As some bonds are coming together and strengthening, others are starting to fray and crumble. This is the episode 8, Our Kind of People breakdown. I'm your good sis, Erica Vane, giving you all the tea on the episode and talking about everything that we need to know. Let's jump right on into it. The episode starts off and lets us know, first up, this is Teddy's birthday, which is a big to-do in the Bluffs. He's going to have a party. He is out of the hospital and he is on the mend. And also seemingly a changed man. He hands over the reins of Franklin Holdings to Leah, which is something that we know that she has wanted since the very beginning. When we first met these two in the series, she was trying to push her father out and push him into early retirement, letting him know that her reign is about to begin before he thwarts her plan and puts her back in her little child seat. But at the start of this episode, he reaffirms her, lets her know that she needs to lead with strengths and that she is in charge of Franklin Holdings while he continues to heal and rest up. Now, what is interesting to me about Teddy in this episode is that he's playing the doting, loving father very well. And it seems like he and Angie have hit a rhythm. Him and Nikki are good. And then Leah is comfortable as well as their family starts to really form and they are able to show up for one another. And we have not really seen a consistent, calm and supporting and loving Teddy like this in a very long time, or probably throughout the entire series, in all honesty. Literally in this episode, the only person that we see his treachery and disrespect come about with is Raymond, and this only happens for a split second on a phone call where he reaffirms to Raymond that he's not going to be able to do anything to get Darman back, that he is basically on his head and he is on this whole futile mission and he is going to destroy him. Yes, his daughter's husband he plans to destroy. But other than that, Teddy is peaches and rainbows this entire episode. He enjoys his birthday. They have a little moment. They do a little roaring 20s theme party. They have a little dance moment for him and all of that jazz. And we really don't get to see much issues. He even apologizes again to Tariq and sets him up with the pitch for the stadium expansion deal to try to make amends with him. And even that is surprising because he was questioning Tariq's loyalty this entire time once he realized that he, was really falling for Angela. So it's just like, all right, Teddy, what you got cooking up your sleeve? Because we already know that you're not this nice, you are not this loving, and you're always up to something. But, it's your birthday and we're going to let you live because you didn't really kick up too much dust in this episode. But speaking about Tariq, because he did kick up dust, he in this episode is struggling to deal with the news of his father's suicide. Peggy didn't give him any additional information, even though all roads led to her knowing more. She acted like she had no idea, and then last episode ran back to Boston so that she can avoid any type of questions. And instead of him actually processing and talking about his feelings, he is literally working all of his aggression and frustration and feelings out with sex with Angela. Yeah. With sex with Angela. And we all know Angie, the sex might be great, but she's going to always want to check in and make sure that you're good mentally. And that's what she does in this episode. But she kind of, I guess, goes too far. Even after Leah gives her the advice on their little me day, their little step away, their little press pause button that they have sitting poolside, Leah tells her not to push too hard, just give him space, let him come to her. But Angie brings it up at Teddy's party, prompting their first little dust up of the episode where he's just like, can you just give me space and let me enjoy this party? I don't want to talk about this right now. And I'm like, okay, so now we're seeing another side of Tariq. We're getting to see the side that's a little bit emotionally unstable. We get to see somebody who I guess is also emotionally repressed, which is fostering up a little bit of anger that he is lashing out to the people that he really, really cares about. And then this gets reaffirmed at the very end of the episode when he comes over to Angie's house drunk and sees Nate there hugging her in his feelings still and kind of bucks up at Nate. Now, I knew that this was coming. I didn't realize it was going to be coming in this type of way because, of course, we're going to have the whole, oh, your ex is around, they actually want you back, even though I actually do think that Nate does want Angie back. So that's already going to be a little bit complicated. But when you add on the layer of Tariq not being able to trust anybody, with Angie being so new, their relationship being so new, her having all of this baggage of the ex-con, baby daddy who comes back and the baby didn't know about that was the daddy, and all of this extra stuff is just like, all right, do we got any therapists standing by? Because we gonna need them. And I'm really interested to see how Tariq is going to continue to spiral, because it's very clear by the end of the episode that he is not on a upward path. Now, going back to Nate in this episode, there's two moments in this episode that just, to me, are just so beautifully done. One is with Angie and Nikki, and the other is with Nate and Nikki. Nate and Nikki are getting much closer. They're hanging out. Nikki goes to help him shop for clothes for the party, and then while they're there, the police show up, and we get a moment where we get to see Nate's PTSD and anxiety triggered by seeing the police, thinking that the police are coming to him automatically, like just being in that space, and then really dropping into a place of panic. He is literally stuck and frozen in time, and Nikki watches it and doesn't necessarily know what to do. And I thought that how they decided to show this was very, very powerful, because I believe that this is an experience that many black men face, even if they don't articulate it, even if they don't actually show it in this particular way with the cinematic gold of the slow motion, and you can kind of like hear his heart rate slowing down and all of his thoughts are happening, and you can like feel his pulse raising. I definitely think that this is something, like, even I'm driving and I see like police lights and I'm like, oh God, they about to pull me over. Girl, you didn't do nothing. You not speeding. You didn't make no illegal turns. You didn't do anything. Anytime I see like police in the vicinity, I'm like, oh, they're about to pull me over. Oh, they're about to say something. I think that this is something that's very true to the black experience, but especially true to a person who has experienced incarceration and is now reacclimating back into the world. And I thought that was just so powerful. In that, Nikki starts to panic and she doesn't necessarily know what to do, and she gets scared and she tries to brush off all her feelings. And this is also something that ties into my second favorite moment of the episode. In the scene with Angie and Nikki, Angie takes a moment to tell Nikki that it is okay if she is scared, it is okay if she is anxious, and she can be honest about her feelings. She does not have to be strong all the time. And I thought that this was so powerful, one, because it's really great to see a black mom speak this over her black daughter, but then also Nikki turns to her and says, but you're always strong. You don't ever like crumble or fold, or I don't get to see this and this from you. And she's just like, and that was my mistake, because if my mom would have shown me a little bit more vulnerability, or shown me how she was actually handling some of the things that she was experiencing, I think that this would have been better for me. It would have been strength, it would have been power. And this is also something that she reaffirms to Leah when Leah calls her when she's about to go and meet up with Jack for whatever dumbass reason that was gonna be. But she reaffirms to her of like, this strong black woman idea, stereotype, myth, whatever it is, we also have to release it. We can't even just look at society to stop looking to us for this, but black women need to release the idea that they have to be this at all times, because it's not sustainable. And in the moment of seeing her communicate this to her daughter, it really feels like a breaking free. It feels like a release. It feels like a welcoming into full humanity. And a lot of times you feel like, as a black woman specifically, if you're trying to be a black woman who, you know, does well and succeeds and people love and look up to, or whatever the case might be, you have this idea that you also have to be strong at all times, which can be a very crippling and caging experience. So watching this scene, I was just like, yes, free this little bird and let her fly through all her feelings and her experiences. And she reaffirms that both her and Nate are going to be there regardless of what those experiences and feelings are, and they're going to support her through it. And I'm getting emotional because I just thought it was so freaking great. More women need to do this. I know I will with my little daughter and sons, actually, with everyone. Everyone should have full range to be free and feel what they feel. Going back to Angie and Leah, I love the moment between them in the car. They really are having a really great run as sisters. Angie has been showing up for Leah consistently, recognizing when she's anxious and overwhelmed, and stepping in and trying to do things to actually help her and support her. And I'm really hoping that this run continues for a little bit, because I like it. However, a lot of things with them are starting to feel a little bit too good to be true, especially with how they have been at the start of this series, especially with Leah being on her neck. But for right now, we're going to continue to ride this wave. Now, Raymond comes back in this episode. He is done being away. He's going to fight for his family. And I'm just like, sir, you coming in all hot and yelling that Leah is in talking about you gonna fight for us, you got a lot of bass in your voice for you to be fighting for you and her. I'm like, you gonna need to calm it down and be a little bit more apologetic because you did bring your ex back into y'all's lives and then kiss her in this car. Let's not act like you innocent now. We know you want your company back. We know that you're struggling and you feel alone and isolated and all that in this marriage, but you still kissed your ex and brought her ass all the way up here. So you ain't innocent, bro. By the end of the episode, Leah and Raymond actually have a very honest conversation about what they both have done within their relationship, and that was actually really, really good to see. Seeing them take accountability for their parts and where they actually are within their marriage, but then also deciding that they wanted to be in their marriage and that they should put each other first was really great. And I feel like it's dope because this is the first time I'm actually feeling like they both feel like this. I have been questioning this marriage from episode 1, and this is the very first time that I'm like, okay, I can see why y'all are actually together. Y'all actually do want to be together versus it feeling like a very convenient hookup in a alignment of two families. Raymond also beats the hell out of Jack in this episode, and I ain't even mad at it because he kind of deserves it. He was very, very familiar with Leah, trying to get her to come to his bungalow and all of this, and part of me wants to know what is the deal with that, because he has to get at some point some type of inkling that it's okay to be so familial, and we don't really have any backstory. We saw them actually kiss, or him kiss her way back when, and then now he's talking about come to the bungalow, and then he's talking to Raymond about how he's always liked her. It's like, sir, you are very goddamn comfortable. What is going on here, and what is feeding your confidence battery? Because we need to unplug it. The kids in this episode don't necessarily have too much going on. Lauren has a moment of reaffirming to her mom that she's actually going to be there for her. She's not just a daddy's girl. And then she also finds the bungalow key in Leah's car, which is probably going to be something that comes back a little bit later on down the line. And then Quincy has a moment with Sloan, who is Jackie, the lead maid, either her daughter or her granddaughter. I'm not really clear, but I believe it's her granddaughter. He has a moment with her where she's just like, you need to go for what you want, and what are you doing this summer, and all of this kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm just doing what they tell me to do. And she's like, but why would you do that? So basically she inspires him to be able to push back and stand up for himself, and he's definitely feeling her. But guess what? Miss Jackie ain't having that. She tells him promptly and precisely, you're gonna need to go ahead and bark up another tree, sir. With anybody else, I ain't gonna judge you, but with her, she's off limits, which is only gonna make him want her more. But you know, we gonna see that. We need to see something, y'all, because we ain't seen much of nothing from Quincy besides being cute and smiling all season. Like, sir, what are you here for? What are you gonna do? Lauren has been wreaking havoc, and you've been over here smiling. Like, get in the game, bro. Not that I think that we need more drama, but he need to get in the game. Also, before I finish off this full breakdown, I want to mention how, yes, I do think that Nate wants Angie, but he's not overstepping. In the moment where Nate, at the end, where Nate and Tariq have that little dust up, and then he says that he ain't even worth it. To me, it's foreshadowing for what's to come. But Nate is really towing a really strong line and being respectful, and I'm really hoping that he doesn't go out of his way to switch it up, because he's been probably one of the most solid and consistent characters, even though we have only seen him for the most part in the last 3 or so episodes. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more from him. But y'all, that is my full breakdown of episode 8, Our Kind of People. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comment section down below. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, join the tribe. It's your good sis Erica Vane, breaking down Our Kind of People every single week. Can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.